My name is Amata, and in this Red Gaming Tech video I'm here with the latest from the tech world in the last 24 or so hours. I hope you've all had a pleasant weekend playing God of War. I know how I have. There's going to be a video upcoming hopefully tomorrow if all goes to plan. I have recorded it, it just needs to be edited and exported and all that good stuff. So keep your eyes peeled, but you don't want to know about tomorrow, you want to know about today. What's on the itinerary today, I hear you ask? Well, we're going to kick things off with the iPhone SE 2 as a Japanese publication has laid bare for all to see the specifications. Then we're going to move on to Nvidia and VXGI, as they did discuss the improvements made to this at the recent Game Developers Conference. And then we're going to move on to a website which has popped up called microtransaction.zone, which has basically launched with the aim of rating games based upon their microtransactions. And with how prevalent this is becoming, I can definitely support this as an idea. So as I said, we're going to kick things off with the iPhone SE 2. So, as you might expect from my introduction, all of this stuff is unconfirmed for the moment, so do keep that in mind. But according to a Japanese publication, we have the specs for the iPhone SE 2, and this is the website Mac and they were at the Global Sources Mobile Electronics Trade Show in Hong Kong. And apparently they revealed, or well, it was revealed to them, should I say, that the next generation phone will be launched in May and will actually be the same size as the previous generation, and also going to keep hold of the Touch ID fingerprint reader. So that does mean a 4-inch screen for the SE2. Now, unfortunately, their sources for this didn't think that we'll be seeing the headphone jack, the 3.5mm, remain, unfortunately. Not really surprising, given that Apple are continuing their baffling move to move away from that so they can sell more AirPods, but moving away from that, the phone is going to be powered by the Apple A10 Fusion chip and is going to be 40% faster than it is currently in the current gen iPhone SE, which is the A9 SoC. And we're also going to be seeing support for the HEVC video compression standard and HEIF image format. Now, also according to them, we're going to be seeing wireless charging support for this, as well as a glass back. Now, this isn't too out of line of the previous rumours that we have seen regarding the new iPhone SE. There was a Chinese website by the name of QQ.com who said that the SE will have a 4.2-inch screen, a 10 Fusion chip, 2 gigs of RAM, Touch ID, and a metal frame and back. So obviously it does differ a little bit, but there seems to be a common theme with a lot of the unconfirmed specifications. And we also have some rumours on the pricing as well, and it's expected to retail about $350. But another analyst who works for KGI Securities said that he doubts the SE2 is going to be coming out in the second quarter of this year. So if that's the case, then a May release is that's just not going to happen. So all of this is unconfirmed and a bit thin on the ground, but there's going to be a link in the description below this video to the source, but unsurprisingly it's in Japanese, so if you can read Japanese, go for it. But it is there for your perusal. But I think we should wait and see, as things seem a bit confused regarding the specifications for this, and this was something that they were told at a trade show, and obviously they can't reveal this source's name and all that sort of stuff. So when it's an unnamed source, I'm always extra skeptical, but you should always just treat it with skepticism anyway. But enough on that. Let's move on to Nvidia. Now, some of you might be going, okay, so what is this VXGI thing? Well, basically, it is the thing that came before voxel ambient occlusion, and it is voxel global illumination. So VXAO we have actually seen implemented recently in the PC version for Final Fantasy 15, as well as Rise of the Tomb Raider. And while VXGI, which is really hard to say by the way, is superior to VXAO, it is quite resource intensive, or at least more resource intensive than the one that we have seen implemented in recent games. But Nvidia are not one to give up easily on a technology when they believe in it, of course. As we saw at the recent Game Developers Conference, there was a presentation which basically showed the advancements they have made in VXGI, and they're going to be releasing a 2.0 version of this. So we have high quality area lights with shadows, and while the increase in quality is definitely nice, there is more to it, as Nvidia are also going to be sharing a dedicated VXAL API where developers can set any parameters and basically just have a more customization on the developer level. Obviously it doesn't really apply to you and I, but it's still a tool that developers have in their toolbox. Now we also have one-pass voxelation, which according to Nvidia at this particular conference can almost double performance in most cases. Support for view reprojection for VR games, simpler voxel formats, more flexible materials, simpler tracing controls, as well as improved upscaling and temporal features, excuse me, I don't know what features are, but just a bunch of improvements that are just going to result in hopefully better looking games, but obviously with less of a demand on the performance. So essentially the TLDR of all of that is this is going to be easier to use for developers. There's going to be more customizability on the developer level. There's going to be more tools that they can make use of to make their games look better, all while using less resources on the hardware. So we're going to be seeing it being made available at the end of the month, and it is going to be integrated into Unreal Engine 4. The question remains, of course, is whether or not this is going to see usage over VXGI, but I think it depends on how much of a performance hit it is versus that older technology, and of course the improvements that it brings to the table. If the improvements are enough, we might see a performance take a hit, or we might not. We're going to have to see. I think with the extra flexibility for developers, I think they're going to be more willing to work with it, as it could of course just be used for applications that perhaps Nvidia did perhaps intend it for, or it's not really suited to, or we could just see it really used really well. We have to wait and see, of course. But we're going to end things out with microtransaction.zone. So, obviously, I don't need to tell you guys that we have been talking about microtransactions and loot crates and all that stuff for ages. I feel like I've said this so many times, but it has been going on for a while. But obviously, it has reached a fever pitch recently with Star Wars Battlefront 2 and the repercussions to that with all the governments looking into it and that sort of thing. So, with the amount of games taking on, shall we say, sometimes aggressive, sometimes predatory, not always, but sometimes, methods to try and get as much out of players as well as paying $60, and sometimes, obviously, even in free-to-play games, just because it's a free-to-play game, you still don't want to see a really predatory, manipulative system in place. And now we have seen microtransaction.zone launch this week, which basically aims to clarify a game's business model. So they've got a set of tags that can provide a quick rundown, of what you can buy after you've actually coughed up the cash for the game. So just to give an example, a game that allows you to buy cosmetic items, real-world cash, will get the horse armor designation. But say, for example, you can buy a actual real-world boost or advantage within the game. That's going to be, it's not just cosmetic. And then any games that do not have microtransactions are going to be designated as spotless. So this has already caught the attention of the PC gaming subreddit, which is reddit.com/r/PCgaming, one of my favourite subreddits, just a fun FYI. It has already gained a lot of attention and a lot of submissions of people suggesting sites to add, and not sites, sorry, games to add and all that sort of thing. Basically, all this website is intending to do is inform the customer. And considering we have seen microtransactions explode in popularity, given that they are making developers an actual metric ton of cash, I think having more information and knowing, okay, am I going to be nickeled and dimed? Am I going to be bugged by an in-game store every 5 seconds? That sort of thing. I'm being a bit facetious, of course, being a bit over-dramatic, but you want to know before jumping in whether or not this game hounds you for money, or whether or not it does have a store but it's not that bad, that sort of thing. That's the kind of context that I would like to see. Like, a game that has microtransactions might not be as bad as another game that has microtransactions, simply on the amount of times it annoys you. Like having a store that it just kind of goes, here you go, once, and then just never tells you about it again. Okay, I hate that it's there because you already charged me quite a lot of money to play this game, but at least you're not bugging me about it every 2 seconds. You kind of get what I'm saying. So go check those guys out. Don't mean to add more work to their workload, but I feel like, they deserve a nod for this, and I think if this site gets popular enough, we could see it be a really interesting tool and a very helpful tool to people who are deciding whether or not they want to throw down their cash on a game. For a lot of people, of course, they can't buy every game that comes out because they're very expensive, so they want to know before going in what the deal is. Anyway, that's me done for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Sad that it's Monday tomorrow, but, such is life. I'll see you next time, guys. Bye-bye.